So this strange thing has been happening recently where I can't sleep more than at most 3 hours a night. I was having some problems sleeping prior to being broken up with, but they weren't nearly as bad as this. Like, you know, the least I would get would be like 6 hours, but generally I got 6.5, which is manageable. You'll feel a little bit strange, but generally fine because you only need 7 at the least. But I found myself now, I've found myself now in this situation where I am attempting to sleep, but filled with all these negative thoughts all the while. And I get to sleep eventually, but after getting to sleep, I can't stay asleep. I'll get woken up. Like, for example, just now it was being woken up by a panic attack. I went to sleep at a normal time. It was like 7:30 or like 8 p.m. or something like that. And I wake up like 2 hours later having a panic attack. I mean, who has that happen to them? Who just wakes up having a panic attack? It's happened to me before after PTSD nightmares and things of that nature. But this appears to be a pattern with me. When I get broken up with, it's like my body so soundly rejects the event that basic bodily functions become very difficult to perform. Like, for example, eating. I've been forcing myself to eat successfully, but as I'm trying to eat, my anxiety will be so high that, like, not only will the food taste bad, it'll feel like it's making me nauseous, like my body is rejecting eating the food. And so that's not fun. I feel like when I put this video out, I'm gonna call it like rejection the experience or something like that. I don't know, but um I just keep thinking about No Thank You's album Brain Fog the Experience. That's a certified hood classic right there. Check that out if you have the time. But um I am a man with some romantic difficulties, I'll put it that way. But um, it's going to get better. There. I refuse to believe that there are not kind people worthy of one's love out there. Um, you know, Bad things happen every day. What matters is how we respond to them. We can't degrade the quality of ourselves by choosing to respond in an inappropriate way, regardless of how much pain we may be in. You know, there's a moral obligation. We have a moral obligation to respond in accordance with our values, and in a way that humanizes um, everyone involved. You know, you never have an excuse for saying or doing bad things. And one thing that I was really proud of coming out of this relationship actually was how I approached it and how I responded to the situation. I think I did so in a fairly measured and reasonable way, and in so doing, prevented a lot more a lot of harm that could have occurred. And the sense of security or calmness or relaxation that comes from that is going to be a vital resource, right? You can't degrade yourself, or debase yourself. I think that's the word I'm looking for in these situations. You have to approach them in a reasonable way because ultimately you are responsible for you. Everyone else around you is responsible for themselves, but you're responsible for you. And your conduct is the one thing that you have control over. You don't have control over anything else. You don't have control over how other people feel about you. You don't have control over what, romantic attraction they have, or, physical or whatever. These are not things that you can change. They are things which are fluid, and subject to change. They are things which are beyond our control. And so, you know, I think it's important in these highly stressful situations where we're being morally tested, um, to focus on what we do control, which is our own words. It's how we respond. And I'm looking at my situation right now with my lack of sleep and being cognizant of the fact that this is going to change. It is not going to be like this forever. I can't sleep right now. I'm not getting good quality sleep right now. I'm going crazy, but it'll be okay in the end. I've seen this movie before. I have been on this radio. Radio. I meant rodeo. I've been on this rodeo. It happens. It happens. I think at the end of this video, I'm going to throw in a clip from the other night just to kind of illustrate to you what it's like, how I've been doing. Um, I think maybe it'll help those of you who are going through a breakup yourselves right now. Maybe it'll help you see, you know, how bad it can get and not to give up. God, my head hurts so fucking much, dude. My head hurts so much, it's insane. I I was trying to get to bed here. I've been trying to get to bed here. And I thought I would be able to get to sleep if I just jerked off, right? That is kind of logical. It makes sense. So I tried looking at some content which wouldn't remind me of her, of my ex. But of course, in order to climax, I needed to think about her. And, as much as I was trying to avoid her, the thoughts of her entered my mind nonetheless. And now I just feel fucking awful. And my fucking head is hurting, man. My head is hurting so fucking much, it's insane. Like, the side of my head is just, it feels like somebody just took a piece of metal and fucking hit my head with it, man. I feel like maybe to her this isn't a big deal, because I think maybe she hasn't experienced romantic love for another person before. And so in her mind, this is just like she can just randomly change her sexuality at will. And then, like, the consequences that that has to me don't matter whatsoever. You know, it's, I wouldn't be surprised if next week it's a different sexuality, or she gets on fucking progesterone or something and it completely changes. I mean, it's completely and utterly nonsensical, right? This entire situation is insane. It's been conjured up by insane people that are trying to fuck with me, man. You don't just randomly switch like that. It's like she has this whole narrative she's running with that I think stems from the fact that she, like, fundamentally doesn't understand herself or her internal experience. That's why there could even be a sense that there was this kind of confusion in the first place. But, you know, obviously I can't say that to her, because you sort of have to, defer to other people's stupid thoughts about themselves. Um, yeah. I mean, I really don't think she cared at all about how much the stuff she said would hurt me. I mean, she knew. She had to have known it would have hurt me a lot, you know? She doesn't care. She can only frame these things through how it affects her, right? I want to fucking kill myself, man.